It was the pioneers of this organization who challenged the monopolies, who questioned why I couldn't use my own phone, why I had to use this particular plug to plug into that particular outlet. It was challenging that. It was taking on the monopoly. It was questioning the status quo. And if it wasn't for Comptel, that would not have happened. Young kids who are walking down the block with their latest Android or Apple or whatever the latest gizmo is, that wouldn't be happening. Because when Comptel started as an organization, we had black rotary telephones. The history of telephone deregulation in this country and the advent of competition is what has made the products and services that we all take for granted be possible.
I was CEO of a long-distance company in Michigan called Lexitel, which is one of the first of these alternative long-distance companies that was around at the time, together with several other similar companies around the country. We got together and talked about what our needs were in Washington from a regulatory perspective, and decided that we needed to form an organization, an association.
I was the first president of the association. The organization was formed in 1981, so I was there at the beginning with the founders. And the reason that the association was formed is that the fledgling telecommunications competition industry was having a hard time competing in the public policy field with AT&T. And when the companies tried to fight against AT&T individually, they continually lost the battles.
Comptel grew up immediately following the breakup of AT&T, and at that time most people understood MCI to be the only real competitor to AT&T. Industry folks in general and the American public were unaware that there were hundreds of smaller competitors to AT&T, undoubtedly inspired by MCI, that got into the business all over the country. And so it was really fun to represent those companies in a trade association and tell the world, who we were. Comptel continued in that vein, representing smaller companies in Washington that would otherwise not have a voice on their own.
Well, I don't think we'd have a lot of the technology if it wasn't for Comptel. I mean, Comptel created competition, and competitors in turn brought new products, new devices, new services to the market.
We all need Comptel because there are many very strong, very well-heeled industry leaders, industry dominators, I would say, who would love to see the competitive subsector of the industry go away. And Comptel keeps the competitive industry in the game. I was president of Comptel from 1990 to 1997, during which the Telecommunications Act of 1996 was debated and passed, so they were important and heady times for the industry. I think the biggest accomplishment of Comptel was to secure the pro-competitive elements of the Telecommunications Act of 1996, which really allowed the competitive industry to live on.
But for Comptel, I suspect that the Communications Act would look a lot different and be a lot less supportive of competitive telecom than it is today.
Well, I was president of Comptel from 1998 to 2005. It was a really exciting period for both me and the organization. During that time, we merged with ACTA, we merged with Ascent, we merged with Alts, we grew the shows.
Comptel is the place where people need to come at least twice a year to the trade shows, see the manufacturers and vendors that are out there. It is the place where people come to do business. I've done more business at Comptel than any other shows that I've ever attended.
One of the strengths of Comptel is the networking that goes on amongst the members. It truly is a place where business gets done, and that's where a lot of the energy and really the enthusiasm of the competitive industry really takes place at the business meetings.
2005, it was now 9 years after the Telecommunications Act had passed, so we'd seen many of the initial battles, many of the formative rulings out of the FCC, and now the Federal Communications Commission was moving into a more deregulatory era. It was a dynamic time in the industry. People were entering the local telecommunications market really for the first time. Long distance was transitioning, and we had a lot of members merging around the time.
Comptel has probably achieved something that no other organization could achieve, and that's continuing to work for our fellow Americans and make it a competitive landscape throughout this country. It's brought competitive pricing, has brought great products, new products, innovative products to the United States. And I don't think that that would have happened had it not been for Comptel and the many, many members that contributed to this.
One thing that makes Comptel unique is the people who are part of Comptel. It's an industry of people who have a real passion for entrepreneurship, and they have this just unwavering optimism that no matter what the odds are, they're going to succeed. We can't even imagine what's on the horizon that we'll be talking about, but the principles won't change. Comptel will still be here, we'll still be fighting for choice, we'll still be fighting for innovation. The mission will be there.